The cult of the serpent, or properly the basilisk. What I have a picture of is the city seal of Zwell from 1295 with St. Michael killing a basilisk. Well, St. Michael, per my research, would be the equivalent of Heracles, but that's for another video. I want to talk about the origin of the cult of the serpent or the basilisk. In European legend, the basilisk, or the little king in Greek, is Basiliskos, is a legendary reptile reputed to be king of serpents and said to have the power to cause death with a single glance. Now, per Wikipedia, according to the Naturalis Historia of Pliny the Elder, the basilisk of Cyrene is a small snake, being not more than 12 fingers in length, that is not venomous. It leaves a wide trail of deadly venom in its wake, and its gaze is likewise lethal. Or that is so venomous, I'm sorry. Its weakness is the odor of the weasel, which according to Pliny was thrown into the basilisk's hole, recognizable because all of the surrounding shrubs and grass had been scorched by its presence. It is possible that the legend of the basilisk and its association with the weasel in Europe was inspired by accounts of certain species of Asiatic snakes, such as the king cobra, and their natural predator, the mongoose. The basilisk is called king because it is reputed to have on its head a meter or crown-shaped crest. Stories of the basilisk show that is not completely distinguished from the cockatrice. The basilisk is alleged to be hatched by a cockerel from the egg of a serpent or toad, in the reverse of the cockatrice, which was hatched from a cockerel's egg, incubated by a serpent or a toad. In medieval Europe, the description of the creature began taking on features from the cockerels. Okay, very interesting. The serpent is revered in some cultures and despised in other cultures. Naturally, there's a lot of poisonous snakes, so one can understand that. Now, in previous work, and I'll make a video, the Amazons who were hanging out in Libya and other places around Greece hunted large snakes and would wear their skin. And then the Gorgons, which would be a separate race, were said to have snakes in their hair. So I find that interesting as well. But where did this cult of the serpent come from? Well, it came from Thoth out of Egypt, who's also called Thoth. Sometimes he's referred to as Hermes Trismegistus. He's not the same Hermes, son of Zeus. Thoth was a counselor to Cronus, and in the book History of the Ancient World, the writings of Sanchonathan by Isaac Preston Corey, he tells you the origin of the serpent worship. Let me read. Thoth first consecrated the basilisk and introduced the worship of the serpent tribe, in which he was followed by the Phoenicians and Egyptians. For this animal was held by him to be the most inspirited of all the reptiles and of a fiery nature, inasmuch as it exhibits an incredible celerity, moving by its spirit without either hands or feet or any of those external organs by which other animals affect their motion. And in its progress, it assumes a variety of forms, moving in a spiral course, and at what degree of swiftness it pleases. And it is very long-lived and has the quality not only of putting off its old age and assuming a second youth, but it receives a greater increase, and when it has fulfilled the appointed measure of its existence, it consumes itself, as Thoth has laid down in the sacred books. Wherefore this animal is introduced in the sacred rites and mysteries. Now, this basilisk is essentially some kind of a serpent dragon. They associate it with a cockatrice, which Wikipedia states is essentially a two-legged dragon with a rooster's head. And I'm showing you the cockatrice over the Belvedere Castle in New York's Central Park from Wikipedia. And if you start to look a little further into this, they begin to also associate it with a salamander because it's a lizard-like form and with the element of fire. And what I find interesting is this Gnostic archon, they call it an Aeon called Abraxas, I guess it would be. And Abraxas has this like rooster-like head and the serpent legs, and is described as a partner with Sophia. And basically there's these Abraxas stones that have the image and some symbols on it. But it appears that, the Greeks kind of knew a little bit about it. The Gnostics did. The Jewish worked with it a little bit. If you start looking at Abraxas in Wikipedia, the Egyptians considered it a deity. They represented it as the sun god Frey, leading his chariot or standing upon a lion borne by a crocodile. Well, it also says, in connection with Isis, 5th Neith, 8th Thoth, Anubis, Horus, and Harpocrates in a lotus leaf. I am thinking that Abraxas may be Thoth. And if so, remember I said Thoth is not the same as Hermes. Now what I'm showing you here is a picture of Thoth, and so they call him second Hermes. As I said, there's various Hermes. One is the son of Zeus, and one is really Thoth, who was an advisor to Cronus. But he's shown with this bird head, this ibis and serpents. And this is from the Brooklyn Museum, from Wikipedia, Thoth, and they call it Thoth du Foie Grand, Le Second Hermes. So I'm almost thinking that since he was the creator of this basilisk cult, and that was one of his symbols, but also the bird, that Abraxas may be a representation of him. But I would do a little further research on it. Some say that it's more Abraxas is a rooster, but then you have the ibis. But look at it, Abraxas has got the bird head and the snake legs, and you've got Thoth with the bird head and the snakes on his crown. So I'm almost sure it's the same. But Thoth is the originator of the Serpent cult. It would make sense that the descendants of Zeus try to get rid of it because that was the older generations and some of their ways that were not good. And the ways and laws of Zeus took over once he took over from Cronus. So Thoth is the originator of the serpent cult or basilisk cult, and that is one of his symbols. Thank you.